Hi everybody, my name is Lauren and welcome to the Omnivorous Bookworm. So in this video, I am going to do my unpopular opinions about fantasy. So I've already done my unpopular opinions about romance, so now we're moving on to fantasy. So please like and subscribe because I'm a brand new channel and every single subscriber is very much celebrated. Alright, so by nature, these opinions are unpopular, so it's more likely you disagree with me. But if you agree with any of my unpopular opinions, just let me know. Or if you want some clarifications about my strange opinions, or if you have any other unpopular opinions, please put them down below. I'd love to see them. Okay, so the first one I think this is pretty unpopular with a lot of like hardcore fantasy fans. But I think we need to make fantasy books shorter, not longer. Please, no more. Because, I mean, I'm okay with it being long, but I feel like it just becomes almost like this competition of like, oh, here's a 1,000-page book and an 800-page book. And sometimes maybe that would be better as 2 books, or maybe we could cut something out, maybe a little bit, and then like have some kind of like it would be better, I think, to have like some kind of master, like behind the scenes world building book for people who are like really into it, and then for like the actual books, like make them a little bit shorter. That would be my preference. But I think I'm kind of alone in that. So, all right, number 2, that kind of goes along with it, and I put less trilogies, more standalone. So I understand why in fantasy we get these long series, because authors are doing so much work as far as world building, and some authors like Brandon Sanderson get really into their world building. It's really in depth. And obviously, like, I think authors need to tell the story that they need to tell, but it almost feels like we have to have trilogies, we have to have multiple books. And I would prefer to either have more standalones, um, because I almost don't like to start series, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to like get into this whole thing if it's going to be like 6 books. And or another option would be like, if they're going to put all this effort into world building, to have multiple books in the same world but have those stories to be standalones. I would much prefer that, and I hope that that becomes a trend that becomes more popular in fantasy, because yeah, I'm just tired of getting into series and series and series and never finishing them. Alright, and then the next one I have, and I think this one is really, really, really unpopular, is I want less quests and less journeys. Now, obviously, I think this started as like a Lord of the Rings thing, and a lot of other fantasy books started copying that, and I'm okay with a quest, I'm okay with a journey, if it's necessary, if it works, but as I said before, I'm not a huge road trip person, and so I feel like sometimes it's just too many quests, too many journeys. I'm like, no, we don't need to go on a journey, let's just stay here in this like little town. Like, I would prefer if more fantasy books would be more like stationary and less like traveling here and there. And I mean, traveling's fine, but I think we need like more of a mixture, in my opinion. Um, the next one I think is very controversial, and this one can be kind of tricky, but I feel like less made up names or languages. So obviously I think this became really popular with Tolkien, and he was a linguist, so like when he did it, he was really good at it. Not everybody is that good at it. Obviously, if authors are using names that are from perhaps a different culture and might be unusual to like an average English speaker, I'm not referring to those names. I'm referring to like when authors like literally make up names and it's like X, Y, Z, A, S, A. It's pronounced Sarah. It's like, what? Like, and I understand why people do it, but I just feel like, I know it's a different planet or a different world or a different whatever, different time, but like, can we make the names like follow some pattern? Or if you're gonna give us a name that's unusual, like tell me how to pronounce it in my head. Otherwise, I'm just like in my head, I'm just skipping the name every time. Like, oh, that's the X name, or that's the like A name, or whatever. Okay, the next one I have is no more European Middle Ages. So I don't mean this like across the board. Like, obviously, I guess we could have stories, but I feel like maybe for like the next 10, 20 years, if it were up to me, I would have like no fantasy set in the European Middle Age type place. Obviously, that's fine. I'm just joking. But it's just like we got so much of it that's like, let's go to some other places. And I shouldn't say European, I should say like British, because I think like we could have Eastern European or even like Southern European, but just some different like culture bases, or yeah, different, maybe a different time in history would be nice. I would prefer that. I mean, it's okay, but it's getting old. I don't think that's so. I don't know if that's as unpopular now, though. I think that's becoming more popular. But I felt like that before it was popular. So does that make me a hipster? I'm not sure. All right, the last one I have is less dystopian worlds and more enjoyable, or like utopian. Like, we went through the dystopian phase. It would be nice to like go more towards a utopian phase, because I don't know. I just feel like the world that we have now is such a mess. There's so much inequity and all these, like, I don't need a dystopian world to like emphasize that. Um, so maybe like a few more utopian worlds would be nice to kind of mix it up. I did just finish an Octavia Butler that I really enjoyed, which was dystopian. I didn't enjoy it. I appreciated it because it was pretty sad. But so I mean, if a dystopian is done well, or if there's a reason for it to be done, then I'm okay with it. But if it's not necessary, I would prefer no dystopian. Like, just I like to escape into my reading, so like no more dystopian. How about some utopian? Yeah, we can have like a nice utopia over here. Let's go over here in our brains. Alright, so those are my unpopular opinions about fantasy. What are some of your unpopular opinions? Let me know. And do you agree with any of my unpopular opinions? Or do you think maybe they're not unpopular? Maybe I'm not alone. I don't know. I hope not. So I will see you next time. Bye-bye.